Sarah says, welcome. Well, that's legit. This is exciting. We got people joining us from lots of USA, Wyoming, and San Francisco Bay Area. Sorry if I'm looking at the computer over here. We have so many monitors happening. This is the way live things go, where some of this is going on a whim. This was put together. We decided on doing this just about 2 weeks ago. And then even last night, we had some technical things changing. The plan was actually not to do nearly as much live. It was mostly we have people who send us live stuff all at one and then share it with you. So we had less glitches and going. But as goes with the case, and first times of doing these things, we've already had a few little hiccups and we've experimented. And because I have a Sarah, she's technically figured it all out. This is the joy of being Mr. and Mrs. Smith Studios is I have ideas and then she makes things happen. Sometimes she gets mad at me for the things I want to make happen, but she makes them happen anyway. So I'd love to hear where everyone's from. It's I know we have the chat happening. There's going to be a lot of chat engagement going on today, even for the recorded stuff. We'd love to. Well, the artists may not be here with us because they've sent in their recordings. It's a place for us to just share our living rooms together. That's basically what this whole thing is about. This is the most great festival, and
remember, I'm just going to pause you. That this isn't the intro yet.
Yeah.
This is just the high.
This is just the highs. Yeah. I was going to repeat it again anyway for those who are here ahead of time. You'll be hearing Sarah quite a bit. I will not once ever refer to her as a peanut gallery. She is my boss at this moment. I will do as she says. Your Sarah is amazing. She is. I'm not bad myself, but she's amazing. For those who didn't get that reference, we have coming on later this week some music. Some of the musicians include Martin Kerr, and how have you not heard his song, You're Amazing? My kids sometimes reverse it saying, you're not bad yourself, but I'm amazing. So Martin, maybe my kids will put a spin on that one day. I hope everyone's having a spectacular first day of Ridvan. It's assemblies forming. For those who are able to, I know we got a lot of guidance from the Universal House of Justice on how to go about that, and even from our national assemblies. And this will be the first day. It'll be interesting to hear tonight how everyone processed it. Some people have figured out how to mail in their stuff 4 days early in plastic bags because the virus won't live on the paper, on the porousness after the 48 hours. So they give themselves 72 hours, wipe down bags. Some are using 9 votes. Thank you for the people who put that together. That was awesome. That's what our community did. 9 votes was fantastic. There's some great resources out there. We'll make sure we're sharing them throughout the day and through Baha'i Knowledge Network page. That's the idea of the Baha'i Knowledge Network. Is it's not our thing. We just want to be a place that can help disseminate all the resources we hear about and find to everybody, because you're going to hear later this week, you're going to hear Tom Francis saying he's one of our musicians. He's amazing. I'm sure you've probably heard of him. And if you haven't, you could even Spotify him. We'll send you links to him. I didn't know he did a cover of Mona with the Children. It was sitting, I love Baha'i Blog. If you haven't checked out Baha'i Blog, check out Baha'i Blog. They even have an app now. Nason, you're awesome. And I'm going through the chat stuff. And next I know, he has, I followed down the well of the studio sessions where Baha'i Blog has brought in artists and is helping them record their music beautifully. So YouTube, Baha'i Blog, studio sessions. And there is this from 5 years ago. I had no idea. So the goal of the Baha'i Knowledge Network is to bring all these resources together. You'll be hearing at the end of our broadcast today, because this is just one celebration. This isn't the whole festival. We're not it. There's many happening. We have LA doing something. I think I'll confirm it, 3:30 p.m. each day in the afternoon that Yossi's putting together. Before I chat with her a bit about what they're doing. Actually, Yossi will be one of our musicians playing as well. This is how collaborative we're all happening. We have stuff happening at Wilmette.
I'm just going to pause you again because, yes, there's lots going on. But we actually have people joining us, even London, and we've got California in here. And there's about, so far, 75 people
75?
Watching us right now.
75?
So just let those 75 people know that this is just the warm-up.
Yes, this is just the warm-up. For those who are just logging in now, that is the voice of Sarah. That is the voice of the producer, the person who's putting this together and keeping me on track, because I am a Gemini. I have 2 thoughts on everything, and I will also try to slow down my speaking, because as my mom says, Tobin, you're very excitable. I don't understand what you're saying. Slow down. Truthfully, Sarah says that to me too. But this is what today is. It's live. It's fun. Hey, mine says this event hasn't started yet.
Well, yours is wrong.
Oh, am I wrong? All right. I have multiple monitors going on here. We're surrounded because all of a sudden this morning, some computers and cameras decided to stop working. So we had to make shift and plan what was where and which was working for us. So this
Is
thing,
your chat box working?
yes, it is, because I've got listening from
Ooh,
Bermuda. Nice. Hello, Bermuda. Happy Rizwan, everyone.
We've
Gita
got
says that,
New
and I agree.
Mexico.
And Ottawa. Oh my goodness, you people are amazing. New Mexico, welcome. This is I truthfully, the plan was actually not to do any of the live stuff reading where everyone's from. I thought we were going to jump into it, but things changed. We didn't have what we were going to start off with, and so instead, I do get to do that. I get to be that person who's just realizing how far everyone's. Where can we find the schedule for the celebration? Oh, that is a great question. So,
the celebration, the schedule should be right next to the chat box.
Yes, there's a schedule for today next to the chat box. Right now, we don't have out there the full schedule of the musicians. We do have Van Gilmer, we have Red Grammer, we have Martin Kerr, we have.
I'm just gonna come over and
Sarah's
photo
coming
you.
She's gonna photo. Yeah, she's gonna come on camera. I didn't know this was gonna happen today.
So we will be putting stuff together on the fly, like Tobin said a little bit. This was kind of something we came up with about, I don't know, 10 days ago. We're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if? And so we've been frantically working behind the scenes on this amazing program. And the people who have stepped forward to dedicate, or what's the word I'm looking for? Well, contribute.
Commit, join, contribute, be a part of, celebrate, come into our living rooms with us.
It's been almost a little overwhelming with the amount of people who want to contribute. So I'm just a little behind on getting those technical things up, but I'm hoping that once we got this inaugural one under us, we can go, because everything you're seeing here today is first time and brand new for us. So fingers crossed it works out. But I'm going to go back because now we're at the 10 o'clock. We have a really great little slideshow that's going to start to kind of bring you in. And then we'll be back for the program.
So there we are. I didn't even know she was going to make it on camera today. She said she wasn't, but she is. She's gorgeous, right? I love this woman. She is my twin flame. Those who haven't heard about twin flames, I hadn't either until I met her and she told me about it. So look that up.
Okay, so slideshow time.
Sorry, slideshow time. All right. So thank you and slideshow. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Happy first day of Rizwan. This is our first broadcast doing this. This was put together, the idea of it 10 days ago. We just got the software a few days ago. So we're playing. It's our first day. Please have some patience. If you can't hear us, if you have some audio problems, mention it in the comments. We will keep track of there. All right. Got someone who doesn't hear it, but someone who hears. So turn it on or off. Speaker, sorry, I'm not sure. So today, why we decided to host this event. Well, we had planned to want to launch the Baha'i Knowledge Network 9 months ago. We came up with the idea, and the plan was to do it at the end of the summer. But then, we actually moved 7 days before the world shut down. And so luckily we're in a place where we have a little more nature, we're not stuck in the city. And we're here with these resources that we've been accumulating to be able to host online events. And we thought, why wait to launch anything and do this stuff with the Baha'i Knowledge Network at the end of the summer when we can already host a Rizwan celebration? And our kids were excited. We've all been physically close. Of course, the idea is to be socially close but physically distant. A lot of people say social distancing, but to me, I've been 2 feet away from people who feel socially distant. So we're keeping the phrase physically distant while socially close and relevant. And we wanted to do something that just connected us all. And I've been seeing the way people have been hosting things and using Zoom and things. I was like, I want to connect. I went to a school where it was international students from around the world. So it was a great idea to reach out to everyone and share this opportunity. And so here we are. I had an idea, and then Sarah made it happen. So thank you, Sarah.
I'm going to pause you. I'm just writing a little bit on the volume. So I'm going to turn it up. So you tell everyone to turn down their volume just a smidge.
Sarah's suggesting everyone turn down your volume just a smidge. She's riding the volume a little bit because I guess we're playing a bit with the volume.
But I'm going to turn it up now on my end.
She's going to turn it up on our end, so you might want to turn yours down just a little bit.
I don't want to blast you.
That's a heads up. She doesn't want to blast you because we have some musicians today. We've got Eric Harper, who's going to be giving us a concert at the end of this, and I want to make sure we hear that audio. Plus, we've got some audio that's people who've contributed to this reading. We're going to be doing in a little bit. That is fantastic. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Seriously.
See, she keeps me going. This is the informality of today. Today's the idea is reverence with informality. So thank you for your patience as we get this inaugural program going. She gave me a stop.
I have a sound echo.
She has a sound echo.
Just 1 second.
Thank you for everyone in the comments. It's a great place to keep the chat going amongst each other, but also let us know. Sarah's hearing an echo. Do you hear the echo? All right. This is the way live goes. The actual intention was not to do near this much live. It was supposed to be recorded, but we had some technical glitches even already last night getting this set up. Cameras weren't working this morning. We had to change computers. And so here we go. But we'll get the whole program to you in just a moment. We have...
Wait 1 sec. I'm not hearing you.
Oh,
no, sorry.
Control room. This is the pause. I want to keep talking and not leave you with a pause, and yet I'm not supposed to talk. I can do a dance.
We've got 195 people.
Noka here. Do you need us to mute mics? No echo, great sound. So we have great sound from people out there.
Okay, then it's something on my end.
All right, so we're going to keep going. This is in the booth.
Time to move into what's going to be next, and then I can problem solve.
Perfect. We're going to move into today's program. So you'll see next to the chat, Sarah has put this sheet that tells us what's happening today. This is the program. We'll make sure we have this each day as we're doing the program because there will be 12 days of programs. We have musicians, like Kevin Look, Van Gilmer, Red Grammar, Martin Kerr, Tom Francis, Yossi and Bahia, and last night I just found out we got Roman Arona.
What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm talking this schedule. That's why she keeps me on track. Okay, sorry. So what's coming up next in the next part of the program is we have a short video about what is Rizwan. It's going to be followed by a passage from God Passes By, read to us by Anissa Cameron. The original, she was going to read for us in front of the shrine in Montreal, but snow and wind. So she did it inside. So thank you so much, Anissa. Then we have a story about the Festival of Ridvan that was written by Susan Miller and Val Warden, read by people from around the globe. So thank you everyone who was a part of this reading. I'm excited to see it and hear it myself, see how I put it together. And then we have a small selection of writings by Abdul Baha that Rena is going to read to us. This one was by Abdul Baha. It relates to what the story about Rizwan was and the significance of our assemblies. So I'm going to let Sarah bring in those series of videos now. I hope you enjoy them. Please keep letting us know in the chat. Someone says, thanks for turning off the audio and unable to hear the audio. Well, the replay, there will be a replay. So hopefully we can all figure out all the audios for that part. So here we go.
Rizvan is a 12-day festival celebrated by Baha'is around the world to commemorate Baha'u'llah revealing his station to his companions, that he was the one whom God would make manifest, the promised one of all religions. Rizvan is celebrated annually beginning on the 32nd day of the Baha'i year, which falls on the 20th or 21st of April. The 1st, 9th, and 12th days of Rizwan are celebrated as holy days where work is suspended. Around the world every year, we celebrate this first day by electing thousands of spiritual assemblies all over the world. Happy first day of Rizwan.
Leaving for the last time amidst weeping and lamentation, his most holy habitation, out of which had gone forth the breath of the all-glorious, and from which had poured forth in ceaseless strains the melody of the all-merciful, and dispensing on his way with a lavish hand a last alms to the poor he had so faithfully befriended, and uttering words of comfort to the disconsolate who besought him on every side, he at length reached the banks of the river and was ferried across, accompanied by his sons and amanuensis, to the Najibia garden on the opposite shore. "O my companions," he thus addressed the faithful band that surrounded him before he embarked, "I entrust to your keeping this city of Baghdad. In the state ye now behold it, when from the eyes of friends and strangers alike, crowding its housetops, its streets and markets, tears like the rain of spring are flowing down, and I depart. With you it now rests, to watch lest your deeds and conduct dim the flame of love that gloweth within the breasts of its inhabitants." The muezzin had just raised the afternoon call to prayer when Baha'u'llah entered the Najibia garden, where he tarried 12 days before his final departure from the city. That's Shoghi Effendi in God Passes By, page 149.
Now is the time for the story of Rizwan. Most of you have heard this story before. Some of you have heard it since you were children. I encourage you to try to hear it as if you are hearing it for the first time, to again find that awe and wonderment.
1863. The United States was being torn apart by a civil war, where the abomination of slavery was the central issue. Technology was having a staggering impact on the world. The telegraph was revolutionizing communication. Photography allowed, for the first time in history, the terrible reality of war to be captured. In France, artists abandoned reproducing the world and were now painting through a lens of fractured and floating light and color. Impressionism would revolutionize the eyes of the world. Karl Marx was thinking about how society should be structured to address the poverty of the great masses of Europe, and was soon to write a book that would set nation against nation and consume much of the energies of the 20th century.
In Persia, the great Islamic wave of science, mathematics, and learning that had been unleashed by Muhammad's sweep across Africa, Asia, and parts of Mediterranean Europe had subsided, leaving a once great civilization drowning in a sea of darkness, fanaticism, and corruption.
Into this world in 1844, the Bab's brief meteoric surge of spiritual renewal had blazed up, but that youthful manifestation was publicly executed, and 20,000 of his followers were tortured and killed because the officials of Persia were alarmed to anything that awoke people out of a subservience. Baha'u'llah was a follower of the Bab, and although he was of noble lineage, he was imprisoned in a filthy hole of a dungeon in Tehran. It was here, in the darkness among the suffering and pain, that Baha'u'llah received his revelation from God, designating this slightly built man to be the manifestation of God for the modern age. Baha'u'llah was to become the receptacle of God's grace to humanity, joining the long line of manifestations from Abraham, Krishna, Zoroaster, Buddha, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and the Bab.
For 10 years, Baha'u'llah kept this secret from the world. Yet people were drawn to this person who possessed something that spoke to the spirit within and held out hope and joy for those who had none. And again, the authorities of Persia perceived this as a challenge to their powers, and they decided that Baha'u'llah was a dangerous man and had to be removed. Exile was the most expedient way to do this, and so Baha'u'llah was banished from Persia to Baghdad in Iraq.
For 8 years, Baha'u'llah lived and walked about in Baghdad, pouring out his love among the inhabitants, counseling and comforting all who came to him. But the authorities of Iraq, like the Persians, decided to remove this dangerous person, this time to Constantinople, now Istanbul. When news about Baha'u'llah's exile got out, people thronged to his house to pay their respects. The house was too small to accommodate the crowds, and a friend gave Baha'u'llah the use of a garden in the outskirts of the city, across the river from Baha'u'llah's house, on the banks of the Tigris.
In the afternoon on April 22nd, 1863, the 32nd day after Nowruz, when Baha'u'llah walked out of the house that had been his home in Baghdad, the road to the riverside brimmed with people of every walk of life, men, women, and children. From every part of the city, friends and strangers, the poor and the outcast, merchants, notables, clerics, and officials, these people were inconsolable at the thought of his departure.
Finally, Baha'u'llah and some of his companions, including, of course, Abdu'l-Baha, made the short boat ride to the garden. Baha'u'llah's family joined him there on the 9th day. It was springtime, and the garden, which Baha'u'llah named the Garden of Ridvan, which means paradise, was aflame with the brilliant hues of roses. At night, the nightingales sang in the warm, fragrant air. Those who have written of that time linger particularly over the beauty of the roses and the bounties and blessings of nature. It was a paradise of the senses and a paradise of the spirit.
Baha'u'llah pitched his tent for 12 days. During these 12 days, many people came to pay their respects, eager for a last glimpse of Baha'u'llah before he left for Constantinople. Every morning, the gardeners would pick the roses that lined the garden paths and pile them in Baha'u'llah's tent. At Baha'u'llah's request, these roses would be delivered to his friends in the city, little pieces of Paradise's garden distributed as gifts of love and beauty.
12 days spent in paradise, during which Baha'u'llah unveiled himself to the world, and nothing was ever the same again. The world was created anew. God passed by, touched the earth, and breathed new life into the world. These days have become the Festival of Ridvan, the king of festivals, where Baha'is the world over celebrate humanity's return to paradise.
On that first day, Baha'u'llah revealed his station to his companions, that he was the one whom God would make manifest, the promised one of all ages, the glory of the Lord, the Prince of Peace, the Comforter, the Most Great Name, the Ancient Beauty, the Pen of the Most High, the Most Great
Together with our spiritual brothers and sisters around the world, we celebrate the memory of this beautiful, mystical, practical first day in the Garden of Paradise, Ridvan. Around the world, we celebrate this first day every year by electing thousands of spiritual assemblies all over the world. This is one of the signs of the unification of the world.
Together with our spiritual brothers and sisters around the world, we celebrate the memory of that beautiful, mystical, practical first day in the Garden of Paradise of Ridvan. Around the world, we celebrate this first day every year by electing the thousands of spiritual assemblies all over the world. This is one of the signs of the unification of the world.
On the 12th day, accompanied by his family and 26 followers, Baha'u'llah left the Garden of Ridvan, never to return to that earthly place. Mounted on his red stallion, he moved carefully among the throngs of people, torn by grief at his leaving and joy at his public declaration. As he moved beyond the garden walls, the call to prayer was raised from the minarets of Baghdad. Paradise was now a memory in the hearts and minds of those who were there. But it also has become a spiritual station, attainable by all. Baha'u'llah has called all the members of the human family to become dwellers in the highest paradise.
Ever since the time of Adam and Eve, human beings have longed to return to the Garden of Paradise. The cycle of prophets from God that began with Adam and our exile from the Garden of Paradise has now ended with humanity's return to the Garden of Ridvan. Baha'u'llah's choice of the garden to declare his identity as the manifestation of God for the modern age, and his mission to unite the world, ended humanity's long sojourn in the wilderness.
Found ye spiritual assemblies, for these are the basis for spreading the sweet savors of God, exalting his word, uplifting the lamp of his grace, promulgating his religion and promoting his teachings. And what bounty is there greater than this? These spiritual assemblies are aided by the Spirit of God. Their defender is Abdul Baha. Over them he spreadeth his wings. What bounty is there greater than this? These spiritual assemblies are shining lamps in heavenly gardens, from which the fragrances of holiness are diffused over all regions, and the lights of knowledge are shed abroad over all created things. From them the spirit of life streameth in every direction. They indeed are the potent sources of the progress of man, at all times and under all conditions. What bounty is there greater than this?
Thank you to all our readers. That was beautiful. That was awesome. And I really appreciate people from Australia to throughout the US to Europe to Canada being a part of that for us. Thank you very much. This is, it's the first day of Ridvan. Assemblies have been hopefully elected. Some people have found other ways in this time of physical distancing, but hopefully socially close to elect their assemblies. We'll probably be hearing in the next day about who was able to go through have their elections and who found how to use the other resources that were looked at. This reminds me, in the quotes of Abdul Baha, one that we sent out to all the readers that I'd like to share with you. It was from a letter from Abdul Baha. Anybody can be happy in the state of comfort, ease, health, success, pleasure, and joy. But if one will be happy and contented in the time of trouble, hardship, and prevailing disease, it is the proof of nobility. Thanks be to God that dear servant of God is extremely patient under the disastrous circumstances, and in the place of complaining, gives thanks. this was a big motivation for us in wanting to do something for Rizwan at a time where the world is in unprecedented turmoil. And for those, the news Rizwan letter succinctly puts it better than I will even try to bring it down to. But we're at a time that, to me, has a similarity to Rizwan in the sense of this was a time when Baha'u'llah is being exiled yet again, and people in sadness and tears were coming to his home to share love and comfort in their distress. So much so many people that they could not pack up, and he had to go to the island to move away so they could pack up and pack his things, where he gave the world this most great gift, which is we have the most great festival, right? This is the festival, the king of festivals. And so at a time when the world is having to recoil in and we're going through struggles, suffering doesn't need to mean sorrow. We can find joy in ways that we're now connecting like we never have before. So thank you for everyone who's been putting through an effort and who's even joining us here today from all over the world. We really, really appreciate having you here in our home and us in yours. So
Tobin,
gets me a little teary.
You've been requested on where that quote came from.
The Abdul Baha quote was, it's actually from a letter to a believer. In my note here, I don't have where it was. I'll find it for you for the tea party. So when we have the tea party, I will be able to tell you exactly where that quote was from. There's actually, I use that part for here, but there's actually a great paragraph that even goes before that quote. I love finding my daily readings. I actually have 3 books I go through every morning in my daily readings. And sometimes I like to look them up and find what came before the quote that everyone is sharing. So from that, I'm going to segue into some fun. What we're going to be doing over the course of the next 12 days is having a craft, as well as concerts, a craft every day. That's our intention anyway. And so Sarah has done a video for our first craft, which is beginning to make our window gardens. What we're going to be doing is contributing to this window garden throughout the week. Maybe many of you have already started putting hearts on your windows to say thank you to those frontline workers, to share love with one another. Well, we're going to add to these window art and make a window garden. What better time than during Rizwan to make a window garden? And so Sarah's going to walk us through the first part of that craft today. Tomorrow, I think we're going to be adding, we're eventually adding birds and some origami hearts. So keep coming back. We have more crafts recorded by other people who've sent them in to contribute to our window garden. Feel free to join in the comments and chat with us about that, please. Also, something we'd love to have done is at the end of this, when you're making your window garden, even each day in your phase, post it to social media. You can post it to the event page for this global celebration, post it to the Baha'i Knowledge Network page, or just post it to Instagram, but hashtag, our hashtag is hashtag Global Rizwan Celebration. And we can find it because I'd love to even keep sharing. And this isn't meant as just a small event. We're part of the most great festival. We're sharing with each other. We're connecting. Some of us who've known each other for years, some of us who just met. So join in that, take some pictures of the art you're making. Let's all share this together on the pages. So with that, I'm going to let Sarah show you how to start your window garden with some branches and trees.
All right, let's get started on our Rizwan window garden. So I came up with this idea a while ago because I wanted to make a garden in my window, and I thought that would be really fun for Rizwan because, you know, the garden. And then I realized we just moved about a month ago and then everything got locked down and I didn't have the supplies that I thought I had. So I'm gonna make a window garden with what I have. Assuming a lot of you are doing the same with me, because it's not like we can go hit Michael's or the craft store and figure out what we want. So this is what I've come up with. I'm gonna work on showing you guys how to make a cherry blossom tree out of stuff you can find usually around the house. So what I've got is, I happen to have a paper bag. I've got a ton of tissue paper, but really no construction paper, but you can use construction paper too. I've got a couple pipe cleaners. I've got some really obnoxiously colored paper that I don't really want to use, but I can show you how to use regular paper. So if you're wanting to, if that's what you have, great, but the perfectionist in me has a very hard time with these colors. So, technique, not palette. Glue stick and some really good scissors. So, I sat down to kind of suss this out this afternoon because nothing like cutting it real close. And I think I've got it figured out. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I made a cherry blossom tree. All right, so for the cherry blossom tree, let's start with the boring stuff. What would they be called? Branches. Let's start with the branches. So for our branches, we are gonna build them with a paper bag. Now, a lot of us also have a bunch of cardboard boxes, probably from Amazon and different places that you've been able to order from. So you can use those, really anything brown construction paper, painted white paper if that's what you have to do, but I've got this, so I'm gonna go with this. So we're gonna go back, you know, kind of old school style, so you know, people my age, if you remember having to cover your books in paper bags. We're gonna cut open our paper bag. And there, now we have a nice big piece of paper bag. And so I'm gonna cut this part off because I don't want it there. Now, as I was making my first cherry blossom tree and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I discovered that the trick with cherry blossom branches is that they're thin and long and kind of straight, and then they build off each other. So we're gonna just start by grabbing some big long pieces. Now I'm just cutting it completely straight because we'll get to the like crafty creative-y part once we do that part. So right now we're just getting the pieces of our puzzle that we're gonna use to build this. So I'm gonna cut a couple more. You know what, I'm gonna do one more just because, well, I'll need the pieces. And of course, depending on how big you're gonna do your tree. I'm just gonna build kind of a corner, and because eventually through the whole week, we are gonna be building more and more into our garden. So you can always just expand more, but this is just to get us started. So I don't need to spend forever showing you how, you know, intricately detail-oriented I can be. All right, so now we have these long pieces. Now these are not beautiful branches. Ooh, aren't there lots of writings about being beautiful branches and gardens and trees and leaves and fruit and anywho. So how long do I want my first branch to be? I'm gonna go just the full length. So I'm gonna now cut, actually I'm gonna cut it in half one more time. So I'm gonna go the full length, cut in half. So I basically have a really long 1-inch rectangle. So let's call it that. Actually, I have 2. Now, we're gonna go through and we're gonna try for a very slight angle. I'm gonna go from this corner to the opposite corner all the way at the other end of this. So let's move my other pieces over and we'll see if you can kind of see what I'm doing. So this will give us, look at that, that was way too fast, but you know what, I'll use that later. Let's try again. There we go, and now we have a branch. So now I'm gonna do that a bunch of different times with a bunch of different lengths. So get ready for some like super fast action. Oh look, done. Here we go, number 2. So as you can see right now, we've got some small, well, let's call them super size, large, medium, and then we're gonna do a couple more different sizes as well because cherry blossoms have lots of little offshoots. Ooh, and I just thought of a little trick to speed it up more, but let's see how it turns out. I don't know if it'll look good or not, but we're just going for straight lines right now. So folded it in a bunch. Oh, so much faster. Let's do that again. See, this is on the fly crafting.
This is COVID crafting. You just gotta do what you gotta do. All right. So again, we're gonna go from one corner to the other. It looks like I'm gonna have a pretty healthy cherry blossom here, so that makes me happy. So then when you get one like this or like this, I don't like how thick this is here because cherry blossoms have very thin little tendrils. So I'm just gonna actually cut off it. And look at that, one becomes, nope, yep, one becomes two. I was thinking the song two becomes one, but you know, different point. And I probably just totally gave away my age on that quote too. So I think that one, I'm gonna keep that one like that too. I like that one. I'm pretty happy now. I don't need those. We'll see as we actually build the tree how happy I am with what I've got, but I think I've got enough branches to get started on the branchy part. So we're gonna put those to the side. All right, now for the cherry blossoms, I am going to be doing it with tissue paper. You can also do this with wax paper, will also work. Regular paper will work as well, just
My grainless granola is ready.
we must pause. All right, and we're back. Tobin was just getting out some yummy stuff from the oven for our tea party later, so, you know, yay. But, so back to what we were doing. We were talking about cherry blossoms. That is correct. So cherry blossoms, I happen to have a bunch of tissue paper left over from birthday parties and stuff, so I'm gonna be using tissue paper. I have cut my tissue paper into a bunch of little 2" by 2" squares. You can also do this with a piece of, like I was explaining, regular paper, and you can also do it with wax paper, I think would look really cool, or parchment paper if that's what you have. You can also use the coveted toilet paper if you really want to as well, if you don't have these other supplies, but you know, toilet paper and all. Okay, so to make the cherry blossoms, this part I was super proud of. So you take a bunch, I'm gonna take just a few different squares and layer them. Don't worry, it's only my own spit and I'm not going anywhere, so I'm not sharing anything with anyone. Because we've all become hyper aware of how much we touch our face and stuff. Oh, I should explain what I did. Let me start again. So you take your 4 squares. Oh, 4 squares, that reminds me of when the kids were little. So you take your squares, and I made a little pile. I didn't count how many because it doesn't matter. Then you fold it in half, and you fold it in half again, kind of like how you would to do a snowflake. This is a very simple fly snowflake. And then this is still all the folds, so then you go off that corner and you do a triangle. So now we've got the triangle. So you want to hold where all the folded ends are and all the open ends stay to the outside. That's like you would do again with a snowflake. So what I'm going to do is cut just a half circle along the top. You can kind of go as deep or as shallow as you want. I played with a bunch of different cuts, and I discovered I actually like the more shallow ones than the deeper ones. So then you open it up and you end up with basically like a little 4-leaf clover. And then for the tissue paper, just gonna open them all up and separate them. Tissue paper is a little bit more finicky because it's so thin. And so let's see, I don't even know how many pieces I grabbed, so it's gonna be a surprise. All right, so that's what it looks like with tissue paper. And you can see that it's kind of nice when it's a little bit see-through, because that gives it the cherry blossom feel. Now let's see what happens. I haven't done it with paper, but you know what? Let's do one for the people who that's what they have at home. So let me create my 2" squares. So this will ultimately get me 2 flowers, but I'm just showing you. So I'm gonna fold in half again, and this way. And then I'm not gonna be able to get a triangle fold out of this one because it's just too, what's the word I'm looking for? Thick. So I'm just gonna cut along the edge. And then it looks like that. So you can see it just doesn't, it's not quite as translucent as it is with the tissue paper, but it does work. So
those are my cherry blossoms. These are my cherry blossoms. It all looks good to me. You know, gardens, you want variety. How boring would be a garden with just one thing in it? Well, then I guess it's more like a field of like crops, but that's okay. So anyway, let's make our garden different. So then what we're gonna do to make our cherry blossoms even more blossominger is we are going to take our glue stick and we are going to just dab. You don't want to with tissue paper. If you like with the glue stick, you're gonna ruin your tissue paper. So you just dab, and if my children were in the room, they would dab, but we're not gonna do that here. And then you take another one and you just off center it. Oh, that's not off center enough. So you've got the one, and you put this one so it's not perfectly even. You want to stagger them, and you put it in the middle, and look at that, you've got a cherry blossom. So let's see how it turns out with regular paper, because I haven't done that yet. That you can be a little bit more forceful. Stagger. Oh, look at that, that's pretty too. And you could also, if you have like a light pink paper, light lilac, that would be really pretty too for your cherry blossoms. So I'm just gonna finish off the rest of these. And then what's nice too is you actually want to make your cherry blossoms in a few different sizes. So you want to have some big ones and some little ones and some like medium ones. So I'm gonna do that, and when I'm done, I will show you my blossoms. All right, so I've got some cherry blossoms made. I've got my branches done. I've got my tape missing, so I will have to go find that. And then we will start assembling our branches into a cherry blossom tree. Pause. I found my tape, so now we're good. Okay, so now we're gonna start just building our tree. And so I start that by, and we have funny windows here that open this way, so I'm just gonna kind of build around it. And so I just start by picking a place and starting with the tape. And tape, you don't really need a lot of tape. You can use just a really little bit of tape. Oh, that was too straight. There we go. That's what it should be doing more. There we go. Because wherever the tape is, well, we can change that by adding something like this. So then you take this and you cover. They don't really love that because see how it comes up that way, so then you just fold it. I'm gonna flip it over. I want it to go up, not down. And you don't need a lot. You can use a very small piece of tape. And here's my trick, is you can use one piece of tape to get 3 spots. There we go. Oh, look at that. So far, so cherry blossom. Now, I'm pretty sure you're wondering, how did Sarah get so good at placing cherry blossom tree stems? I know, right? So, I used to work at a spa, and we used to do hand-painted art on people's toes. And cherry blossoms was one of our most popular art on people's toes. So that's why I kind of know where stuff goes. But just, look at the placement. So you want to make sure that cherry blossoms are a fun tree because the next branch is always going longer than the one behind it. So it's this really pretty sprawling tree. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And just little offshoots are fun because then we're going to fill those in with the flowers. So I'm almost done. All right, so now there's our branches, and that's what cherry blossoms look like in winter, but it's springtime, so we want to make them prettier. So here's the fun thing about this. We're going to use a little bit of glue, just ever so little bit, to put our cherry blossoms on instead of using taping it. So we take, again, same kind of thing that we did when we put the cherry blossoms together. We're going to do this again. So I like to start with my bigger cherry blossoms and build from there. So we're going to put some cherry blossoms there, and you want to pick the joints. You want to put them together where your joints are, because that helps cover up your joints. It also makes it kind of a realistic cherry blossom. So I just pick my joints. And I plunk my flowers. So right now I'm just doing all the big flowers. I did 3 sizes. This one can go here. So, cherry blossoms. Other things you can put in your window garden are like what we've done over here, because again, I didn't have any construction paper, so I made some flowers out of white paper and tissue paper. I made some grass. You know, maybe later this week I'll do a tutorial on one of our art crafts on how to do this little 3-dimensional kind of rose thing. We have a lot of other arts and crafts for you this whole 12 days of Ridvan during this festival, because our plan is that by the end of it, this entire window, and yours at home too, will be covered in things like origami nightingales and origami hearts. And we're going to do a upcycle bird house project as well. So we have a bunch of different fun stuff to bring the outdoors in, since we are kind of stuck inside. What we were asking for you to do, please, is share your window gardens online on our different social media pages, on your Instagram, wherever it is, but just hashtag it Global Ridvan Celebration, and then we can find it, because our hope is to have enough people that we can put slideshows together at the beginning of the broadcasts for everyone to share in everyone's window gardens and the different things you're doing to celebrate Ridvan.
Well, hello. Welcome to our tea party part. So if you haven't gotten your beverage, now is a great time to grab your beverage, because also after the tea party, Eric Harper will be playing us some music. And, you know, his music is exciting, so you might spill your tea, but if you want to grab something, now's the time. I thought we'd have a little bit of a chat. So a few questions came up on the chat. One of them was about where the quote from Abdu'l-Baha came from. Just to read the quote again for those who may have heard it or if my audio was cutting out. It is, let me find this here. It's from Tablets of Abdu'l-Baha, page 730. The source was from Baha'i Publishing Committee in the 1909 edition. We're reading stuff that's, wow, that's really cool. The quote itself, which I'll read again, was, "Anybody can be happy in the state of comfort, ease, health, success, pleasure, and joy. But if one be happy and contented in the time of trouble, hardship, and prevailing disease, it is the proof of nobility. Thanks be to God that that dear servant of God is extremely patient under the disastrous circumstances, and in the place of complaining, gives thanks." This is, so that's where that's from. Also, a question that came up in the chat, this is what our tea party is about, was the questions that may have coming up in the chat. Someone asked where they can get a copy of the story of Ridvan. That was done by Susan Miller and Val. Susan and Val wrote that. I'm not sure if it's published anywhere, but I will ask. And if there's a link to it, I'll make sure I put it onto the page. Everything that we'll be reading over these next few days, we'll be reading actually some stories from the Central Figures. This one is Baha'u'llah Volume 2. We have 2 stories out of here we will be reading this week. Oliver's going to be reading a story about Baha'u'llah as a dervish in the mountains. Beautiful story. We have permission from. So we've actually been writing, at the end of each day, we'll also be doing a little something that Soul Pancake gave us permission to do. So everything that's been here, we've sought out permission from the authors to do. So I will find out the story of the Festival of Ridvan. and to get you a copy, or at least access to know where you can get yourself a copy. So thank you for those 2 questions. Hope we're enjoying some tea. Now, Sarah hinted a bit at what's happening with the tree. This is actually, we have a bit of, I know it's a little blown out behind us, but here's our tree. Oliver came out this morning to see that we did more because it's on 2 windows. It's nice because on the path, we have some healthcare workers on their way home who get to go by seeing the love on the windows that we're giving to them. Well, we also enjoy that inside. That's kind of what this time's about, isn't it? The festival is celebrating a time where even during suffering and exile, we were given the most great gift, this word, that proclamation. And right now is a time where we get to share with so many of our friends why we're showing resilience and patience. And a lot of that has to do with our beliefs. And there's many writings. We'll be sharing a lot of writings from Baha'u'llah. Particularly, I'm putting together a set right now that I'm really excited to share on the 9th day. We thought in place of a presentation, we would have a series of writings that that give us direction, that have been placed in the way we are to live and what this gift is. Like a handbook, right? We've been given this handbook on how to live and what to do. How are you doing?
Good.
Are you enjoying being stuck at home with us, or would you rather be outside?
I'm enjoying it.
I admit my broth is cold because I made it an hour ago. Instead of tea or coffee, we do broth every morning because while it's important to nourish our souls, we also need to make sure we're nourishing our bodies right now to be resilient against the physical threats that are against us out there. This is actually something we are later going to be having. One of our musicians is Eric Dozier. If you're not familiar with Eric Dozier, Eric does 2 concerts a week online. One of them is all about feeding the soul, because our soul's got to eat too, and about how we feed the soul.
Hey, what am I doing up here? Are you watching the comments as well? Are you able to, because people are starting to comment in on where they are and where.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Sarah came up to produce us and make sure I was reading the comments instead of just talking with my son and with you. Oh, from Argentina and Mozambique. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our living room, and thank you for having us into your homes. You are, it sounds cliche, but you really are in our hearts. And this means so. And Wyoming, thank you, everyone.
Haichka.
We didn't do that this morning.
Nope.
So you know what, before we close out the tea party, Oliver, often we do this at dinners, although it was easier when we lived in Vancouver because we knew we'd gotten to know the people around us. So when we were in Vancouver, what was our acknowledgement? And loud enough for that everyone to hear it.
The people from Vancouver.
Yeah, when we were in Vancouver.
It's a tradition to hold your hands up like this, and after to say Haichka. Haichka means thank you. I would like to acknowledge that we are learning, working, and playing and praying on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, in particular the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. Haichka.
Haichka. Now, Oliver, have we looked up now whose land we're on that we need to acknowledge while we're doing this today?
The most I saw of a First Nation indigenous tribe was the Cowichan. But I'm also wondering, wasn't there a Malahat tribe?
There is, and actually in Shawinigan Lake, we're between the two because the Malahat's right there and Cowichan are right there.
So even though we don't know which one, we could still acknowledge both.
Yes, that's why I grew up actually serving and doing a lot of projects. Even one was called the Baha'i Teaching Institute with some of our Cowichan friends, and we would get together every Sunday night and we did skits for other schools and kind of talking about growth, acceptance, love, and spirituality.
That's fun.
It is. It is. All right. So we have hello from Seattle. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much. After Eric's concert, I will be sharing a little more about what's to come this week. Well, we don't have the full program ready to share with you. I can let you know elements of what's happening each day for the next 12 days. 11 days after today. So happy first day of Ridvan. Sarah, if you can cue it up, I think we're ready for some music. If you got your coffee, I know Eric's probably going to close us off with some cream and sugar. We'll see what songs he plays for us. He has a new song about Baha'u'llah. Have you heard his new song about Baha'u'llah?
No.
If you don't follow Eric Harper, he's putting out a lot of new music right now. and some stuff that's really specifically inspired. Even his stuff that's not inspired by the writings has a lot of the writings in it. It's one of the reasons I was so excited to approach Eric about being one of our first musicians. His music not only does our family love, but it has such a spiritual base and content.
I recommend, if you are going to search up any Eric Harper songs, Shine is probably one of the best to go to.
So here's the thing, actually. Shine isn't public yet. We're going to make a music video for Eric Harper's Shine while we're all at home. So we may invite everyone to participate in that, but we'll be making that later. So most people's favorite song by Eric that I've heard from a lot of, including a few people who are watching, is Eric's song Rain, which Eric and I collaborated on a video when we gave our services and volunteered for the Kick for Your Cure, which is a childhood cancer research
How long have you
foundation.
known Eric?
Oh, I've known Eric for a long time.
That's awesome.
And so now the question for those people who love his song Rain so much, once you hear Shine, is which are you going to love more, Rain or Shine? I'm sorry, Eric. I love that joke. All right. With that, Sarah, please cue up a concert, grab your tea, sit back, and enjoy some beautiful music by Eric Harper.
Aloha pa and happy Ridvan. Well, if you're anything like the rest of us, you're probably quarantined and you're stuck at home and you're trying to figure out what to do with your time. Well, this could be a wonderful time for you to learn a new language, learn a new skill, or catch up on sleep. So, I'm here to play some songs for you, maybe liven things up a little bit. And I got my trusty mint tea to help warm up my voice. So why don't we get started and have a little bit of fun? All right. First song is kind of a new one. This one's called Reverie of Wonder. So I was sitting there and I was thinking about the qualitative differences between God's love for us and our love for him, and how his love is like the sun. It's constantly burning. It's constantly there. But my love for God is always wavering. At times, I don't feel it. Other times, it's very strong. And I thought, that's very interesting. It's almost like the seasons, or like my thoughts that are just constantly fleeting and I have to catch up and tell them to calm down. So this song's a bit about that. Again, Reverie of Wonder. Your love is so strong. It can weather any storm. And when you say, okay, I know all will be alright. When it's raining out tonight, you can leave a light so I can find you. It's dark at night, but you love a reverie of wonder. I see the light like a beacon to this hopeless wanderer. The seasons may change, but your love, it stays the same. Ba-da-ba-da. All things, they come, they go, like the leaf upon the wind. And my reasons, like the seasons, they try to lead me all astray. When it's raining out tonight, can you leave a light so I can find you? It's dark at night, but you love a reverie of wonder. I see the light like a beacon to this hopeless wonder. The seasons may change, but your love, it stays the same. Ah, na 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 na. I see the light like a beacon to this hopeless wonder. The seasons may change. The seasons may change. Oh, the seasons may change. But but your love stays the same. Na 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 na. All right, there you have it. I'm gonna look at my trusty set list over here to see what's next. The same dust. What can I say about this song? You know, to be honest, I don't remember how I wrote this song. I got it now. It was a friend who came to me once and said, Eric, could you put this writing to lyrics, to music? And I said, sure. But I was very sneaky about it. First I said yes, but then I never responded back with anything. And several weeks went by, and he kept asking, are you gonna do anything about it? But I didn't respond. Because what I wanted to do for him is I wanted to fully produce the song and then send it to him. So after about 2 weeks or so, I sent him the final product. He was ecstatic. Know ye not why we created you? All from the same dust, all from the same dust. Know ye not why we created you? All from the same dust, all from the same dust. That no one should exalt himself over the other. That no one should exalt himself over the other. Times in your hearts, how you were created, how you were created. Ponder at all times in your hearts, how you were created, how you were created. And no one should exalt himself over the other. No one should exalt himself over the other. No one should exalt himself over the other. No one should exalt himself, 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 himself. No one should exalt himself, himself. No one should exalt himself over the other. Himself over the other. All right. I think it was back in 2007, and me and my family went on pilgrimage. And during that time, of course, I didn't have my guitar, and I didn't have any sort of musical writing device except my voice. And being away from musical instruments like that created a interesting kind of dynamic for me to create, because of course being there in the Holy Land, just constant ideas were flowing through my head. And so as Baha'is, we all grew up with that prayer by the Bab, say God suffice it. And that prayer was running around in my head the whole time. And in my head, I'm hearing this melody. I'm hearing this say, God, God suffice. It's sort of breaking down that way, right? And I thought, well, that's kind of nice. And then when I finally got back to the States, where I was living at the time, I was able to pick up my guitar and put some chords to the melody line. Say, God sufficeth. All things above all things. Say, God sufficeth. All things above all things. Nothing in the heavens or in the earth but God sufficeth. Nothing in the heavens or in the earth but God suffice. Nothing in the heavens or in the earth but God sufficeth. Verily he is in himself, in himself. Verily he is in himself, in himself. And verily he is. Say, God sufficeth. All things above all things. Say, God sufficeth. All things above all things. And nothing in the heavens or in the earth but God sufficeth. Nothing in the heavens or in the earth but God suffice. Nothing in the heavens or in the earth but God sufficeth. Verily he is in himself, in himself. Verily he is in himself, in himself. Verily he is. Sustainer, the omnipotent, the knower, sustainer, the omnipotent, the knower, sustainer, the omnipotent, the knower. Heavens or in the earth but God sufficeth. Nothing in the heavens or in the earth but God suffice. Nothing in the heavens or in the earth but God sufficeth. Verily he is in himself, in himself. Verily he is in himself, in himself. Verily he is in himself. All right. So a few days ago, I released an old song of mine in a new way. So a good friend of mine from China named Elika Mani, we kind of did a long distance duet, I guess you could call it. So I had my part, and the song actually was previously recorded, and we just took out sections of it, and then she sang her vocal on top, and then in the end we joined them together. And the cool thing about this was not only was she creating her beautiful harmonies that she does, but I'm singing in Portuguese and she's singing in English. So it turned out to be this really cool combo of English and Portuguese. So this is my song Cura, which is actually the healing prayer. Thy name is my healing, oh my God. And so definitely something we could use a lot of right now.
De ti, meu remédio. Oh meu Deus, e a lembrança de ti, meu remédio. Aproximar-me de ti, a minha esperança e meu amor por ti, meu companheiro. De ti, meu remédio. Oh meu Deus, e a lembrança de ti, meu remédio. Aproximar-me de ti, a minha esperança. Meu amor por ti, meu companheiro, meu companheiro, meu companheiro.
So this next song is new, and how it came about was I went to my friend John, and John started a 9-Star Media, if you guys know, Baha'i music distribution company. And I said, John, what does the community need right now? And he said, we need children's songs that teach virtues. So I was like, no problem. I'll go write something. And I wrote this song. And I'm not really sure if it teaches a virtue per se, like it doesn't talk exactly directly about generosity or steadfastness or contentment, any of those virtues. I guess it's more about resilience in the sense of when life can get you down and be pretty tough, to stand up tall and don't worry that everything is going to be all right. These are common themes we hear a lot in music, but I thought I'd try my doing it a little Brazilian style. And I haven't really played this much in front of people. Not that I'm playing it in front of people, but you know what I'm saying. But we're gonna try it out today and just see how it goes. All right, I got my trusty lyric sheet here. Put this in front of me. You guys ready? Yeah? All right. Here's Shine.
can be hard when it's cold outside and you're feeling blue inside. But on that day when you're sad inside, all you have to do is shine, shine a light and make it bright. Then you'll find your way back home. Don't be shy, trust in me, 'cause you'll find that your frown turns up by tomorrow. Pain, it's part of life, and it comes and goes. When you're feeling bad, you cry, and that's alright, 'cause you're not alone. Where there's dark, there's always light. So shine, shine a light and make it bright. Then you'll find your way back home. And don't be shy and trust in me, 'cause you'll find that your frown turns up by tomorrow. Where there's light at the end, there's always love. And where there's love, bumbling laughter. And when you shine, every heart will beat as one. So let it all out and shine, shine a light, make it bright. Then you'll find your way back home. And don't be shy, trust in me, 'cause you'll find that your frown turns up by tomorrow. Shine, I'll shine a light from the mountainside, and we'll find our way back home. I'll be a happy and joyful being. I will no longer let my troubles harass me. No troubles harass me. No troubles harass me. No troubles harass me. Come on out to the sun outside. Open up, blow the curtains wide. Put a skip back into your stride. Hop a scotch down a chalk outline. Even though there's a storm tonight, let the storm be a water slide. Let the rain wash away your sighs. Let your sighs be a prayer for life. Turn your head up unto the sky. Close your eyes, stick your tongue outside. Raise your arms like a butterfly. Splash all night till your boots run dry. Don't you know that you're light inside, bubbling up to the brim so bright? So come on, let your sun outshine. Open up, blow your curtains wide. Yeah, this life is a wild old ride. It's a bumpety road to drive, and sometimes you just wanna cry. You just wanna give up on life. Trust in me, this will all subside. Yeah, you know it'll pass you by. That's the lesson you learn in life. Where there's dark, there is always light. No troubles harass me. Yeah. How's that for a little sunshine in your life? That's some good stuff right there. All right. Speaking of new tunes, they just keep on coming. This is one I'm recording right now. Well, not right now, but yesterday. So, sort of.
And let's see here. My trusty cheat sheet says put this one on the 2nd fret. This one's called Across the Sky. And what this song is sort of that precipice. It's that almost complete point of being past a test, but not completely. So it's like you've got one foot in the test that you're suffering from and one foot out. You can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you're still kind of in it. So it's sort of that midway point, if you catch what I'm talking about. So here's Across the Sky. As the wind blew by like a springtime's high, I heard it say, it's a brand new day. And the winter's thaw like the Roman fall all melts away. It's a time for change. So I close my eyes and I hold my head up to the sky, feel the sun's embrace. Running across the sky, running faster than cars run by, running so hard I know I will not hurt anymore. And I'm leaving it all behind, just a memory of years gone by. Nothing you say will ever hurt like that anymore. As I look behind, I catch the eye of an old friend say, it's time to move on. Then the songbirds sing on the twigs of the tree of eternity. I can hear it calling me. So I close my eyes and I hold my head up to the sky, feel the sun's embrace, pull the ruah from my sunken face, and I hold my head up higher than the hills held high, and I know I'm free. Now I'm running across the sky, running faster than cars run by, running so hard I know I will not hurt anymore. And I'm leaving it all behind, just a memory of years gone by. Nothing you say will ever hurt like that anymore. There's a reason for everything. Even the plant most pruned will yield more fruit than before. After winter there comes a spring. Just remember to hold your head up high when you can't anymore. Now I'm running across the sky, running faster than cars run by, running so hard I feel the sweat drip down to the floor. And I'm running to live my life, not some memory of years gone by. Nothing will ever hold me back like that anymore. Nothing will ever hold me back like that anymore. Hold me back like that anymore. All right. I think we got time for about one more, guys. So this one seems to be requested the most of me. So why not provide it? You all know the song, or if you don't, you will. if you're watching this video, all the way to the end. So for all of you, before I finish up, I just want to say happy Ridvan. I know that we're going through some crazy times right now, and it's quite a transformative event that's happening for all of humanity. And I think one of the greatest blessings here is that we are all in it together. And there's never been a better time for us to realize our interconnectedness. And this really is the chance that we have to create more unity, to create more fellowship, and to bring about just a greater sense of oneness. So I hope you all are doing well, and you're staying safe, and you're staying healthy. And by all means, we are going to get through this. And so I just want to thank you for listening to my set here. And God bless everybody. Alawapa. Yours with cream and sugar. You like yours with cream and sugar. You like yours with cream and sugar. You like yours with cream and sugar. As I could be your cream and sugar. As I could be the sweetness and your like yours with cream and sugar. You like yours with cream and sugar. You like yours with cream and sugar. You like yours with cream and sugar. 'Cause I could be your cream and sugar. 'Cause I could be the sweetness in your I could be your cream and sugar. As I could be the sweetness in your life. As I could be your cream and sugar. I could be the sweetness in your life, sweetness in your life, sweetness in your life. Oh.
So he did do Shine. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Eric. Incredibly talented to share all that with us. The guitar, everything he does. If you are just now familiar with Eric, find him on Spotify, find him on the website. We'll make sure in the program there's a link. Actually, there should be a link down below to go to Eric's stuff. I love his stuff. He plays all the time. We work together. Music video coming soon for Shine. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today for the first day of Ridvan. Sorry for the little glitches and hiccups that have happened through the day. I say little, but we know some of them are big. The irony of the plan of doing stuff recorded so that we wouldn't have the live glitches is not lost on me, because ultimately we're still live. Today, for those who, in this afternoon at 4 p.m., Ridvan is everywhere. The Baha'is of LA are putting on their own. All 12 days, they'll be doing something themselves. So I basically see this as, it's the most great festival. these aren't separate events. These are all just different rooms in one giant house celebrating. And we can move from one room to another. There's Wilmette Temple every day does a live broadcast around 10:30, 11 o'clock, I think. That's PST, so their time's like 1:30. Tonight, first day, Luke Slot at 3:30. PST, Baha'is of Palo Alto hosting him again for another concert. So there's lots happening. We'll be posting more to the site. Eric Dozier does this mobile soul cafe because you got to feed that soul along with the Saturday morning sing-alongs. We'll post more about this actually, and many of these musicians are also going to be here with us over the next 12 days. I think I got 2 ideas on how we're going to take care of these little glitches. I apologize again for the little ins and outs in our writing audio. We got 2 solutions. We'll be starting on one of those tomorrow, and everything will be much shorter. Even the crafting was the basis for the window. That'll be the longest craft. Here on out, the crafts are going to be smaller and more succinct so they can be added to the window. I'll make sure we also post the crafting separately to the page, even to the Facebook event, so that you can rewatch just that, so you can make that. So thank you for everyone coming. If a friend invited you and been enjoying the content, listening to this, and this is your first exposure to the Baha'i faith, I highly encourage you to go to Baha'i.org for all kinds of information, or turn to the person beside you who invited you to watch this and have a communication, because while we're physically distant, we can be socially together. Remember, we'd love pictures of the art as you guys start building your art using the hashtag Global Ridvan, or just hashtag Global Ridvan Celebration. Then we can find all those and put together little slideshows of all the paintings that are inspiring people, the artwork they're doing for their crafts on their windows. We'd love to share all of that. We have some exciting people coming up from day 2 to day 12. It's going to be a mix. We've got some rock and roll. We've got some rap. We've got some acoustic. We've got some folk. Keep coming back. We may actually starting with the concerts, so that because it seems if the stream problem keeps happening, it's only because when we go long. And so we might start with that to give those musicians who've sent us their beautiful music the smoothest part of the whole broadcast. Thank you. We appreciate you being here in our home for Ridvan and inviting us into yours. So with that, I bid you adieu. We will be posting a replay of this.
Soul food?
Oh, I forgot. Well, if you look at the initials, Sarah just reminded me of one thing I wanted to leave you guys with. So if you actually look at the initials of the Baha'i Knowledge Network, it basically looks like the bacon. And what goes better with bacon than pancakes? A soul pancake. We have been in converse with them, so we're making this work. We have permission to share this. Everything that we're reading, we're sharing, we have permission from, because that matters. It's important to get permission, not just treat it like it's all of our own, doesn't it? The artists have put in a lot of work for this. Today, I wanted to keep it really simple for our first day. So I'm choosing just a page out of Soul Pancake for us to go away discussing, thinking about, like at our tea party. Keep the conversation going on the pages, in the chats with your friends. So today, I grabbed this page. It says, there's always time to build a fort. List 5 things you can learn from a 5-year-old. List 5 things you can learn from a 5-year-old. I love that thought. Sometimes we get grown up, we get stuck in the internet working and not working. We get stuck in what's coming at us. But like that quote that we read 3 times now today from Abdul Baha, about how we can be noble in times of hardship. What are 5 things we can learn from 5-year-olds? We'd love to hear that. I know the chat is, I believe, now down, but comment on the page, tag it on Twitter, tag Global Ridvan Celebration. Let's hear, what are 5 things you could learn from a 5-year-old? And bonus points. So this is kind of the dig deeper question that usually Soul Pancake loves to put in things. The dig deeper is, how do you implement those into your life? So 5 things we can learn, and how can we begin implementing those into our life? Thank you for joining us. Happy first day of Ridvan. Thank you to everyone who gave us permission to share their stories, and everyone who participated in this, from showing up to watch it with us, to those who gave us the readings and sent them to us. You made this first day magical and wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, be well. Alawapa.